He asked maybe 20, 30% or more. GOP strategist Boris Epshteyn joins us. Democratic strategist Richard Goodstein joins us as well. Richard, let me start with you. The idea of these protests, I know from their point of view, they say we want the mayor out, we want the state attorney out, we want to make a point. What about making that point arguably at the expense of your own city and hurting the economy of your own city? Is that a good idea?
Right. Yeah. So this is obviously a balance here. The protesters, they see loved ones being shot and killed by the police, no less, seemingly without provocation. We saw that tape in Chicago. The same thing's going on in Minneapolis. So obviously, I think there's sympathy for them in some respects, but you reach the point where you have a protest that could be counterproductive when you're impeding commerce.
Right.
You're really
That's what they did, by the way, Black Friday, right?
Of course, no, I understand, and you run the risk of frankly alienating people who would actually otherwise be sympathetic to your position. So I think that's kind of the balance they're trying to, and I think it speaks to how, frankly, desperate they feel to get attention for their cause. They understand, they're not stupid, they understand that they're going to alienate people by doing this, right, and they're going ahead anyway.
Yeah,
so,
right in front,
yeah,
see, locking arms there, Boris. Do you think they hurt their cause? What's your take on that?
Absolutely. Peaceful protest is good to a degree. There's no question about it. And it's important in America to be able to speak our mind and voice concerns. But when it's hurting business, and some numbers show 20% down Black Friday,
yep,
some numbers show higher impact. If it's hurting business at a degree, it's hurting your own city, it is absolutely counterproductive. And there's a better way to voice your opinion, voice your concern.
On a different day, you mean, or in a different venue? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, first of all, as the founding fathers intended, the best way to voice your opinion and your concern and your displeasure is by voting.
Right.
And you
okay,
actually saw, and you see that, you've seen that over last several elections. So that's the best way. As far as protests go, it is important that they are nonviolent. Let's hope that remains the fact today. If they do turn violent, you will see even more backlash against the protests.
There is a political side to all of this, and both of you represent different sides of the political spectrum, so I think it's worth talking about heading into an election year. And for this one, let me start with Boris, because on the Republican side, if the Republican candidate, whoever he or she is, in the general election is not able to turn out the minority vote, that candidate's in trouble. I mean, that's what all the numbers show. That's what all the analysis showed. And last time they did not do a very good job. So there's some pressure on the Republicans to do a better job connecting with this community, isn't there?
Absolutely. Last time around, 2012, over 90% of African-American voters voted for Barack Obama. Over 70% of both Hispanic and Asian voters voted for Barack Obama. We absolutely need to turn that around. And the way you do it is by hitting on themes that are received well across minorities and majorities, across African-Americans, Hispanics, Asians, whites. And what is that? That's the economy. We need to make sure that the economy is strong.
Jobs, that kind of stuff, right?
Jobs, national security is extremely important. Right now, something like terrorism, something like national security is appealing to everybody, no matter what their background is, no matter financial or
then? And let me ask Richard about that, because if you're Hillary Clinton, or even if you're one of the other candidates who doesn't seem like they're on track to become president, but they're certainly running for it, if you're Bernie Sanders, if you're O'Malley, you're going to box in here too, where you're, from your point of view, and O'Malley went through this already when he, at least from Democrats' point of view, seemed to slip up. The All Lives Matter kind of hurt him politically, it seems like. I mean, there's some risk for them too, to
right,
the way they handle it.
And we've seen Bernie Sanders had that press conference of his that was kind of hijacked, and he frankly walked off the stage. Hillary, frankly, in contrast, has engaged the Black Lives Matter people, but not, frankly, before the cameras, but kind of in the quiet where people weren't grandstanding. Look, of course it's an issue. We saw in that autopsy that the Republicans did after the 2012 election, they knew they had to reach out to minorities. And I would say, if you were trying to step back and be objective here,
right,
they could not be doing more to offend Hispanics, blacks, Asians,
what people say
and
about
others.
Trump and the rhetoric. No, I get it.
I
Is that true,
completely disagree
Boris?
with that. No,
well,
I completely disagree with that. Again, I think the themes that you're seeing in the debates, the issues of national security, small government, low taxes, those are attractive to everybody, no matter what their background is.
The polls don't show it, Boris.
And what the polls do show is that in a lot of polls now, Donald Trump, who's our leader, is beating Hillary Clinton in several polls across the electorate. So, they're showing that the
He's beating her head-to-head?
He is beating her head-to-head.
What poll was that? Because the last one that came out, he was down 10, say, for example. And
so you saw a poll right around the debate, Connell, that showed that he was within 3 percentage points of her on top. So it's within the margin of error, but he does beat her in several polls. Now, that's just Donald Trump. I'm not saying he's going to be our nominee. You look at someone like Chris Christie, who really hit the national security theme hard.
If I can get in, Connell, I will say one thing. As a Democrat, I pray that the messages coming out of the Republican Party to Hispanics, blacks, Muslims, and Asians and others stay the same as they have been over the past several months. I think it is no. It's just dreaming to think that somehow that the party can overcome this way in which they're just alienating
the party
people
which
that
thinks that national security is the most important issue out there is going to be a party that most likely wins. And again, let me finish. Someone like Chris Christie, who hit that theme very hard in the last debate and talked about his experience as U.S. attorney, his experience as governor, and making sure America's protected. That's attractive to everybody, no matter what their racial background is.
Some people think he's making a run in New Hampshire, but we'll talk more. We'll watch these protests as well. Happy holidays to both of you guys. Thanks, Richard and Boris. We appreciate it. Now, yesterday, a lot of people were watching Minnesota, right, in the Mall of America.